was actually watching soap operas with my grandmother and I saw a fragrance chemist. It was always behind the scenes. Got my MBA and transitioned to the product development side, having to speak a lot more to people. I'm only 5'2", so.
Welcome to Confidence Secrets, a series where we explore the art of self-presentation, confidence, and power of commanding any room you enter. This season, I'm so excited to introduce you to some amazing guests from Modern Day Wives Meet Me in New York event. Let's jump into today's episode. I'm so thrilled to welcome my guest today, Dr. Tracey Hicks-Kearse. Dr. Tracy is an award-winning founder, CEO, and chief chemist of AcARRE. She has an incredible background as a chemical engineer with over 18 years of experience in product development and marketing. But rather than me giving away everything, Dr. Tracy, I would love you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about your journey.
Hi, everybody. As mentioned, I've been in the beauty industry now, actually, 18, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time. And my journey, how I even found out about it, strange story. I was actually watching soap operas with my grandmother and I saw a fragrance chemist. And I was just like, oh, wow, that type of job exists, even though, it's not real TV. But I was like, let me look into it. And long and behold, I found out it does exist. And I started off in the industry as a cosmetic chemist and process engineer. So I got my chemical engineering degree. And from there, I got my MBA and I transitioned to product development marketing side of developing products. Continue to be that liaison between marketing and R&D to bring, great products to the market.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. It's for me, honestly, it's something new and completely far away industry. Sounds very difficult for me, at least. Okay, so let me start with my first question for today. So how do you approach making a strong first impression in professional or social settings? If you can share a few examples, would be great.
For me, one, I would say it's hair. Always just making sure hair is together, whether it's, nice tight curls or pulled back. But just, that for me is like first impression, because I found out, or I noticed, there's a lot of compliments regarding your hair. Sometimes depending on how short, long, big it is, it's the first thing that people see. That's one of the things I'd say that take precedent as far as, getting things together from a professional setting, aside from the aesthetics when it comes to clothing. Simple is best.
I love that tip here. That's what I love about these interviews I have, that everyone shares their unique perspective, unique tip. And someone might cover, like you said, hair, someone will cover some piece of clothing. And it's very interesting to gather those tips from everyone. Is there any subtle detail about your body language or your self-presentation that you always pay attention to when you step into the room or on a stage?
For me, making sure I'm not slouched over. I'm only 5'2", so it's making sure that my head is held high, not slouched over, in order to see everything that's going on in the room, or as far as about to present. That actually gets me ready, in order to present things.
And what about wearing the heels?
Probably before COVID, yes. Now, as long as it's a cute shoe, as maybe even some type of detail, whether it's a point or a design on the shoe, to dress it up a little more. If there aren't heels, and also depending on the time of year, whether they're heels, whether they're boots, with a heel or not, it'll help dress up the outfit as well.
Yeah, but slouching, yes, please, everyone who is listening us, if there is one thing you will keep from this interview or from anything, just please keep your back straight, shoulders straight, look forward, not down. Yes, that's very important. I suppose you're a public person because you're chief chemist, so you have to present a lot of times something to the different audiences. And you're always on stage, not always, but quite often. So
Right.
what makes you feel most confident when you are in the public eye? Maybe you have some specific rituals, habits, mindset, power poses, affirmations, maybe wardrobe choices that help you to feel more confident before
Mhm.
a big event.
Yeah, I would say for me, sometimes one, I guess as far as like engaging with whom I'm talking with, whether it's,
Mm-hmm.
the host and speaking with them, and then, as far as addressing the crowd. So just making sure I'm facing who I'm talking to so that way they know I'm talking to them. The other thing, it is so simple. It's just like having chapstick on.
Mm-hmm.
From that perspective, because I don't always wear like a lot of color, but at
Mm-hmm.
least this way it's like it's just, having the pout, suitable as I'm talking doesn't get dry or cracked, and I don't even have to worry
Mm-hmm.
about like lipstick getting on my teeth while I'm talking. Those types of things are, the little, I would say, nuances that I make sure I do when I'm going to present or even talk with anyone in a meeting.
Yeah, it's a good one actually about making sure your lips are moisturized. And by the way, one of the things I discovered during the last event was having a cough drops
Mm,
because so many people were like speaking all the time during the whole event, and closer to actually their stage, like public speaking, they were already like a little bit down, so
yeah,
voice was down, and just having this cough drop was just game changer for a few people I met.
right.
You obviously have a huge experience, but probably there was a time, maybe at your early stages of your working experience, when you struggled with confidence.
Mm.
So if you could recall such examples, and what steps did you take to turn it around? And what did you learn from that experience? So how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, for me as a chemical engineer and working as a chemist on the bench or process engineer in manufacturing, it was always behind the scenes. And then once I got my MBA and transitioned to the product development side, having to speak a lot more to people and presenting the
Mm-hmm.
product ideas, it was how do I now make that shift to be comfortable with speaking to people just about anything, because I'm used to being behind the scenes. I left that to other people. So for me, it was one, studying those that were in the public, or at least that were more people facing, and how they actually interacted, the type of energy that they brought when they spoke with people about whether products or, the brand or whatever it may have been, the technology, and just really like seeing the type of one, not like stuttering over your words, two, like speaking loud enough so that way people can hear and understand exactly what you're saying. And then also a little bit like a sense of humor, so that way it keeps people engaged as you're talking, that they don't fall asleep. And then the other thing is too, like not being so long winded. And I find myself sometimes, even today, like I'm direct and straight to the point. So for me, it's working
Mm-hmm.
on like elaborating a little more sometimes, but at the same token, I'm like, I don't want to put anybody to sleep. I want them to get all the information, to understand everything, and then let's just move on to the next, because there are a lot of things that, sometimes can go too long. But that is how
Mm-hmm.
I have, been able to transition from being behind the scenes to now, at the forefront explaining it.
So I imagine it just took also some practice. So you
Mhm.
cannot just decide that today I have changed. Like, did
Exactly.
it take for you some time, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, I'm still
maybe a
working
few
on it.
months or a few years? Oh, okay.
Exactly. Yeah, I've gotten better. Let's put it that way. But
Yeah, well,
everyone,
it's journey.
exactly.
Self-presentation is something that you can always master something, like you just mentioned, right? Your
Mhm.
points were to speak louder. That's one thing, right? It's about your voice control. Be more engaging. It's maybe how you actually form your speech, which words you use, which tone, intonation you use. As you mentioned, with your hair or with your outfit, it's completely different, right? Direction. So it's all
Exactly.
like takes time and different areas to work on, let's say.
Exactly.
There are like different girls and women who are watching us, and I am sure they will appreciate a few tips from you. What maybe you can recommend to them, few tips that they can elevate their presence and stand out, whether at the events or on stage, in professional life or daily life.
Hmm.
So what would they be?
For me, it would be like trying to figure out or work on small talk. Introduce
Mhm.
yourself to a person you don't know, and really just start to ask little questions here and there. And then, like, as you start to go to more things, you'll become more comfortable, being around in settings where you may not know anybody, being comfortable enough to just walk up to anybody, and introduce yourself. Not
Mhm.
only being able to talk about yourself, but also being able to hold a conversation with a complete stranger. That would be a tip that I would give. That's actually something
Mhm.
that I work on,
Mhm.
as far as being behind the scenes and not
Yeah.
talking, to now, like, okay, now I have to speak. Doing those types of
Mhm. Yeah,
get me out of my
I
comfort zone.
completely agree. Okay, thank you so much. Any last words you want to give to our audience? Any inspiration you want to share with everyone?
I definitely, commend any and everybody that takes themselves out of their own comfort zone to really get to the next level. So definitely would suggest, definitely doing that to get to where you need to be.
Thank you so much. And thanks to our audience who joined us today. I hope you found these tips as inspiring and valuable as I did. And of course, I would love to hear your thoughts. So comment below which piece of advice resonated with you the most. And don't forget to follow Modern Day Wife, Dr. Tracy, her brand AcARRE, and me, of course, on Instagram. All the details I will leave below. And stay tuned for the next episode of Confidence Secrets with Kids. See you next time. Thanks for joining this episode of Confidence Secrets with me, Ziuz. If you're ready to take it even further, check out my programs at masteryourpresence.com, designed to help you to build that unshakable confidence and master a body language. Thanks for being a part of this journey, and I see you in the next one.